I'm turning 20 in a few months, which is completely crazy. And if I told my younger self all the things I've done, where I'm at, she would not believe me. She would be in so much shock.
So how you would say was moving forward. Honesty hurts when you're getting older.
So today I'd like to share 20 of the biggest lessons that I've learned, what I think kind of shaped me and made me become the person that I am, and also some things that I think every soon-to-be 20-year-old should know. So I hope this video is able to help so many of you guys because I know I'm not the only one in this position. So let's get right into it. Let's start with a few things which are more on a personal growth level that I have come to learn in the past few years and that have helped me so much through the way. The first thing is that healing isn't linear, and that's okay. You are going to have days where you feel amazing, like everything is possible. You're gonna feel like there's nothing stopping you, like you have infinite possibilities and as though you're living your best life and everything is just doing amazing. And then you're gonna have days where you're gonna wake up and just be tired and exhausted and feel sad, and that's all right. Honestly, as someone who's on their journey to healing, it has been very challenging because I have some days, as I said, where I feel like anything's possible, and I have days where I'm just not in the mood, and sometimes I want to cry and I'm just a bit like off, and I feel like I can't do that. I feel like I'm not allowed to because I have to be positive all the time and everything has to be amazing and I have to be grateful. But it's sadness is a real feeling, and feeling off is totally fine. So let yourself feel those feels and cry it out if you need to. Next thing is that perfectionism is a trap, you guys. Perfectionism is fake, it's totally unnecessary, and believe me, I am probably the most perfectionist person on this earth, but I have realized that it has made me lose so much time in my life worrying about not doing everything perfectly at my first try. And honestly, life is a bit like try and error. I have literally been keeping myself from doing some certain things because I was scared of the fact that I would not be perfect with them. I was always the type of girl who wouldn't even try to do something if I knew that I would not be perfect at it. But the thing is that it stops you from actually doing things, and progress is so much more important than being perfect. Taking baby steps and even the fact that you're showing up and that you're trying is way bigger than doing something perfectly at the first try. And failing is so important, you guys. It is literally necessary, it's part of life. So don't try to be perfect because you probably won't, and you're just gonna worry for things that you can't control. The third lesson is that being kind to yourself is actually as important as being kind to others. I even say it might be more important because everything starts from you. So if you are expecting people to treat you a certain way, make sure that you treat yourself like that too, because nobody is gonna treat you like a queen if you don't believe that you're an actual queen. So it starts from you. Be kind to yourself and treat yourself every now and then. Pretty much do to yourself anything that you would do for your loved ones because you have to be your first priority. Next thing that I would like to mention is that boundaries is a form of self-love. You have to learn when to say no. You have to learn when to push people away, when to make people realize that there's limits that they can't cross, and you have to know what to accept and what not to accept from others. And that all depends on you. So Really make sure you create your own boundaries with everybody and know your worth and know how to say no. So next thing, I'd like to move on to relationships, not only love and romantic relationships, but also friendships and family. So I know you've probably heard this so many times in the past, but quality always comes before quantity when it comes to friends, because having 100 friends who talk behind your back and who don't actually care about you is not going to bring anything to you. However, having one good friend who loves you, who knows your worth, who compliments you, who makes you laugh, and who you enjoy being around is going to bring so much to you. So always choose quality over the numbers. Next thing is that family relationships evolve. Family relationships evolve, and if you think about it, that is completely natural. I remember having a phase in life where I was convinced that I was the worst daughter and the worst sister to my whole entire family because I felt like I was just not needing them enough. And looking back, I was just becoming independent for the first few times in my life. And it's completely normal because there's a time in your life where you were a little kid who could not do anything by themselves. You depended on someone else to do pretty much anything. You didn't know anything about life, so you always had your parents around or your siblings around. Like, you needed that time with them and you needed that bond with them. And when you start growing and becoming an adult and becoming your own person, you start to do things on your own. You stop needing others to do stuff in some way. And obviously when I say you stop needing others, I mean that you do not depend on them anymore. However, you always need your little support system, so it's not completely true that you do not need anyone. But if you feel like your relationship with your family has changed, that is completely normal, and it's just because you're growing. But the fact that the bond is different does not mean that it's not as strong as it used to be. Another thing is that experiencing long distance actually makes you see a side of love that you would not ever experience in another way. So I have been in a long distance relationship for a year and a half now, and I feel like it just shows you that the person is dedicated. It teaches you how to trust in your partner. It makes you put some certain amount of effort that you would not have to put in if you had that person 5 minutes away, and it makes your partner do the same thing. And I think that it really just weighs whether your partner is actually all in or not. So honestly, if it does not work out, it's because there's so much more out there. But it really, when you go through it and you go through it the right way, and going through it the right way does not mean that it's always rainbows and butterflies, because obviously it is not, but you grow so much with your partner, and it just shows you something that you would not experience being with each other all the time. Next lesson that I've learned is that you cannot fix other people. If someone wants to be fixed, they will fix themselves. They will find a way to heal, to go on their own journey, but you cannot put your time and energy trying to fix other people, because someone who does not want to be fixed will not be fixed. And by doing that, you're only gonna be exhausted and draining yourself and putting too much energy in other people and actually losing your own energy. So you really cannot do anything for others. They will seek the help that they need. If anything, you can just tell them that you support them and that you're there for them, but you will not fix anybody. And lastly, talking about relationships, I would like to say that not everybody is meant to stay in your life. And I have had to learn that kind of the hard way because I feel like I was always kind of the friend that would hang on to the friendship even when I was treated super badly or when I was not getting that effort back. And I used to go through the worst friendship breakups. Like, I'd hurt so bad when a friendship ended. But the thing is that not everybody is meant to stay by your side during your whole life. Like, you change and other people change too. And some people were just meant to see a certain part of your life, a certain era of your life, and they were meant to just stay in there. So accept letting go of people, especially when it's people that only make you feel bad. And you know, it's the friends that we make along the way, so don't even worry about that. Like, you're gonna meet new people. They might not be your friends forever either, but you just have to let go. You can't hang on to your past or people that were in your past because it's just not worth it. And if someone has to be part of your whole entire life, they will be part of your whole entire life, or you might lose touch for a while and they'll always come back. So do not chase after people because it's really not worth it and it's very, very draining. Moving on to the next little section of these little life lessons, I would like to talk about confidence and self-worth. So the most important thing to me is that you have to learn to become your own biggest supporter because nobody else is gonna support yourself as much as you can support yourself. I don't know if this makes sense, but let me explain myself. I used to seek for validation in others, like in a sickening way. I feel like I would not do anything if I didn't feel like absolutely everybody was giving me their validation. And the thing is that there's always going to be some judgmental people. There's always going to be people who don't like what you're doing, and you have to learn to go past that. Even from like the closest people in your life or the people that you love the most, you have to stop seeking for their validation and to move on and do your own thing, you know? It is your life and it is yours to live. So support yourself. If you have dreams, ideas, go for them. Do not wait for anybody else to tell you whether it's a good idea or not. Listen to yourself, listen to your heart, and you're also the only person who's gonna be by your side forever. You're the only person that you know will not leave. So create a good relationship with yourself because you have a while to be with them. Next thing is that change is extremely healthy. Change is super good, whether it's physical change, whether it is life changes, whether it is changes within your own person. Change is so important and it is so healthy, so do not be scared of it. I can tell you that moving twice has made me change so much. I think that obviously if I had stayed where I was born and where I was raised, I would not even be close to looking like the person that I am today. And I remember having so many people tell me over the years, like, oh my gosh, you have changed so much, you're so different. And I'm like, duh, obviously I've changed. I moved like 8 years ago and it changed my whole entire life. Did you expect me to be the same person that I was when I was 12? Or like, hello? Like, didn't you change too? That's kind of like part of life. So really do not be scared of change. Go for it and let it come to you. It's so healthy and it's so necessary. So once you learn to embrace it, you're honestly gonna notice how much you're gonna thrive. Next little life lesson is that introversion can be a strength. I don't think I have been this much of an introvert my entire life, but the past few years I have definitely become a very introverted person, and many times I feel bad. I feel like I have to fix it. Like, it's something wrong. You just have to learn how to balance it, I think. Like, you can't close yourself to everybody and not ever talk to everybody and not ever go out. But what you have to realize is that it is such a strength, because it means that you most likely embrace time with yourself and you spend more time self-reflecting, which is something that so many people should do and do not do. So that's really a strength. And you're also probably very emotionally mature, because you know your feelings, like you understand your feelings, or at least you understand what makes you feel a certain way or what bothers you. Not only does it mean that you are most probably not going to be accepting any kind of treatment in your life because you understand your emotions and you know that there's some things that you can't handle, but it also means that there's some things that you know you would not do to other people, because you just don't want to make others feel like bad, you know. And apart from that, spending alone time is so important, and embracing your alone time and loving your alone time. It does not mean that you're lonely. It just means that you enjoy your own company, and that's honestly something to be proud of. However, obviously, being an introvert does mean that sometimes you just don't want to do some things, and that makes me jump to my next little lesson, which is to step out of your comfort zone. I am a pro at not wanting to do things because they're out of my comfort zone, but stepping out of your comfort zone is probably the thing that is going to make you grow the most in your lifetime. And as long as you stay in your little bubble, in your routine, and in your little habits, you're not going to see growth, you're not going to see change, and you're just going to stay the same person forever, which is kind of boring, honestly. So honestly, sometimes be a bit impulsive, do it, don't think about it too much, and just go for it. And last but not least, in that little section, I would like to say that your dreams are extremely valid, even if others do not understand them or think that they are unreachable. As long as you realize that you're capable of doing it and that they are absolutely possible to be realized, we do not actually give a damn about what other people think about it, because your dreams were put in your mind for a certain reason, and that reason is for you to achieve them. So go for it and do not listen to what other people talk about, because everybody always has something to say, and honestly, sometimes we just need to let that go. So believe in your dreams and go for them. Do not listen to others, and do not think that it's too big of a dream or that it's impossible to reach, because it very much is possible, and honestly, you're just one step from it. So go for it. So the last little section that I would like to talk about is just like general life lessons and things that I think will make you stronger if you remind yourself every day. So to start off, I'd like to remind you that not having everything figured out by 20 is the most normal thing ever. Probably, like, nobody has it all figured out at 20. Even the people who seem to have it all figured out, they don't. People who say that they have it all figured out, they don't. It's impossible to have it all figured out by 20, and you can't bring yourself down for that. It's baby steps, you know, like, I have always been a planner. I'd have like the next 20 years of my life planned out, because if I didn't, I'd just stress out and I thought things would go wrong. Obviously, I got in a moment in my life where I couldn't actually predict what was about to happen in my life as easily as when I was younger, because choices started to be mine to make, and that hit hard because I I freaked out. I pretty much freaked out. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. And all that you have to remember is that not knowing exactly where you'll be next year or in a few months, it's kind of like the magic of life. Like, there's so many possibilities and there's so many things that you can achieve and that you can do in life that not knowing and not being sure, it's kind of exciting, you know, like it adds a little spice to life. So why do you want to have it all figured out? Because by the time you're 50, you're probably not going to have it all figured out. You probably will never have it all figured out. So don't stress about it, and honestly, do your thing. Things come along, so don't worry about that. And kind of staying on the same note, I want to say that life does not always go as expected. Things do not always go as planned, and adaptability is going to be your best friend. It's going to be your superpower, because if you are focused on your life to go a certain way and it does not, you're probably going to feel terrible. You're probably going to have a super hard time. However, if you're someone who accepts that and who adapts and who remembers that it does not mean that it's the end of something, but the beginning of something else, you're going to be fine. Like, no matter what happens in your life, you're always going to be fine, because you're always going to know that, well, that did not go as expected. Well, that's okay. Let's move on and do the next thing now. Like, it's all right. Apart from life not always going as planned, your mind might also change sometimes. You might have a goal or a dream or something that you want to do for so long, and once you get it or you start doing it, you might realize that that's not actually what you want to do, and that there's something else out there for you, and that is completely okay. You always have the choice to start something or to end something in your life, and changing your mind does not mean that you are failing. It does not mean that you're losing time. You're actually gaining time, because realizing that something is not for you makes you this closer to what is actually your best life and what is going to make you thrive in this lifetime. So don't worry about having a sudden mind change about something, because it probably has happened to you for a reason. And if you feel like you've lost time, just realize that even if it was not the right decision, you have probably learned so much from it still, and it is probably some things that you can take with you in the future. Next thing is that you cannot wait for big things to happen to be happy. We always expect to be happy when this happens. Like, I'm gonna be happy when I have $1 million in my bank account. Like, what if you're not? What if you one day do have $1 million in your bank account and you're not happy? What then? You have to learn to embrace small things in life, because most of the time we don't even realize it, but happiness comes in small things, like having a conversation with your friends, or laughing your heart out, or going on a walk, or spending time with your family. That is probably gonna make you so much happier than some goals that you might hit. Because I have had so many things that I thought I really wanted and that would make me the happiest person on earth, and then once I get it, I'm like, okay, I have my moment, I'm happy, but then what now? Like, I'm not happy forever. What do I do now? So you can't actually rely on big things, on huge achievements to bring you happiness, and the satisfaction that you feel from one thing will probably not last forever. So enjoy those small little life moments. And to end this video, I would like to remind you that your younger self would be so proud of you. Think about it. Like, think about the person that you were 10 years ago, and think about the goals and dreams and things that you had in mind for yourself at that age. Think about the people that you admired at that age. I know that my 8-year-old self would be so amazed by the person that I am today, and I don't feel like that about myself. And I'm like, why? I know that my 8-year-old self would look at me and be like, oh my gosh, like, is she even real? So remind yourself that your little baby self is very, very proud of you, and that even if you don't realize it, you have already done so much. So this was all for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Don't hesitate to let me know what life lessons you have to share them with me, because I most probably do need more life lessons. So comment down below, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And I hope this little video is able to help so many others who don't have their whole life figured out, because I don't either, and that's alright. So I hope you liked it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!